Hi, today on episode 283 of A Couple of Things, I speak with my friend Onyinye Olufunmi about sleeping, napping, why we need the both of them, and many interesting things about sleeping and napping. I know you enjoyed the conversation. Happy listening. Hi, welcome to today's episode of A Couple of Things, a podcast about things. Today I have my friend Onyinye Olufunmi. Do you want to introduce yourself? Well, introduce yourself, actually. I don't know what.
Hi, my name is Onyinye and my maiden name is Olufumi. I think I just started calling myself Onyinye Olufumi just because Onyinye is a very popular name and I didn't want to lose obviously my mom is the one who gave it to me and just wanted to rep her as well, I suppose.
I actually have like three or four friends that are called Onyinye. So it's very
Yeah, it
helpful.
makes sense.
It's very helpful to have an attachment to it. So
Yeah.
it's like, which Onyinye are you talking about? Onyinye for me.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
But I need to always add that's my middle name because I think maybe sometimes like people might think maybe it's my son name, but yeah, it's my middle name.
yeah. Cool. So how do we know each other? We know each other from Unilag. So that means we've known each other for how many years now?
So I've known you since 2014,
Yeah.
2015. I can't remember the exact
Yeah.
time,
So like 9, 10 years.
give or take. Yes.
Wow. Do you know, I
I
was about
know.
to say like I've known you for 5 years, but I was like, no, Unilag was 10 years ago. So 10 years ago.
Yeah. I saw a post that 2015 would be 10 years ago from interim Muslim. I'm like, oh my God.
Honestly, it's so wild how time flies. And I think that COVID years did not help at all because those years in particular just feel like a blur. But
Yes, yes, for a lot of people, really. But then when you think about it, it makes sense because humanity sort of came to a stop, you know?
yeah, many things came to a random quick stop. But we keep moving and we keep growing older, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, so starting with the question that I always start with, what is on your mind today?
What is on my mind? So the thing is, oh my God, the thing is, there are so many things on my mind, but
We
like
can't go through
immediately,
all of them. Let's go.
yeah. So immediately you just said it is the thing that case. Let me be a bit vulnerable, obviously. Let me just pretend I'm talking to you, my friend, not the whole world. But then I failed my driving test yesterday, practical
Oh,
driving test. And I'm so sad. Not very
oh.
sad because like it's okay to fail things and whatnot, but like I'm not used to failing things. And
Mm.
like when things don't happen to me or something, it's not because I failed, it's because something happened. So yesterday I was just, oh God. And the thing is, and I think why it's particularly upsetting is that there were just so many things leading up to yesterday, like everything was going right. But then during the test, there were some things that were just going wrong. Anyway, it was a busy time, fair enough, it was doing too wrong. But then I would have passed regardless if I was a good driver. So, but then I critically thought about it yesterday because I was like, oh God, like I prayed, like, why did I fail? But I critically thought about it yesterday and I just realized that, of course, I couldn't pass because God loves us as his children. If they give me license, I'm going to jam God's child. God. So, yes, I know it's like, I'm using that to cope as well. But then if you think about it, at least I'm using it to console myself. And I'm also thinking that God wants to protect all of his children from me, I need to go back to I need to go back to my drawing board and then, take more lessons and
Yeah,
then drive more, before going back to them again, I suppose. So yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
I think I totally relate to this because I recently um did my B1 test for like at the place where I'm learning Dutch. And when I was writing the test, I knew that I would have to resit a part of it. And I was so upset because I had prayed. To be honest, I didn't really study as much as I should have because I had so many other things on my plate. But I was so very upset because for like a couple of days before, I saw on Instagram somebody had shared a testimony about how they weren't really sure about an exam they were going to write, and so they prayed and they read and everything and they passed. So I was like, I'm tapping into this testimony. I'm going to also not have to resit. But when I started doing the test, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to resit this. and I was very upset. But then afterwards, I was like, you know what? I didn't study. I need to study. If I had studied, I would have passed. Like the thing that made me feel, the specific thing that made me feel, I did not know it at all. Like there was something I could do. There was no woo. I did not know it because I hadn't read it. And so it was like, okay, you just need to be you are not prepared, so be prepared next time.
Yeah, and you know the funny thing, a thought crossed my mind yesterday, and when I say those little things that happened, because I almost missed my train, like one thing or the other, but like for some reason there was like I would say magical things, but like God helped me and I got there on time, blah blah blah. Even my instruct like the examiner was nice. So there was this thought that came to me that if you look back, God did his part, but you did not. So
Mm,
so
mm.
but yeah, so yeah, I'm not here to preach, but then it's just was on my mind. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you don't need to apologize. Honestly, right? Like I that thing you just said is so key. Like God always does his parts.
Yeah,
Always. We're the ones that sometimes mess up and then so things don't work how we think they should, and then we're upset at God for something that we did not do,
exactly,
which
exactly.
is
Yeah,
very wild. And then we accuse God of things, of doing
exactly.
things or not doing things. But yeah, that is so interesting to think about. Like you do have a part to play. There's the
Yeah,
mercy of God and everything, and sometimes his mercy just like, covers your nonsense, but sometimes you just have to face the consequences. You face the consequences of
exactly.
your actions or inactions. Yeah, okay. Let's not go to I have more things else about, but let's leave it for now. What else is on your mind?
So I think the only thing else that is on my mind is that I'm just how do I say this? Obviously, there's this feeling of being sad, but not really sad too much. But then there's just this how do I put it? Like I'm a bit tired,
Mm.
but like not just physically tired. It's like there's just a certain sort of like tiredness that you feel sometimes. And it's like, so, okay, I took a nap before this call.
Mm.
And now that I woke up, so I'm supposed to feel refreshed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I don't feel refreshed. And now I'm like questioning my decision to like take the nap
How long was
because
your nap?
it was 1 hour.
Mm.
So it's like typically it's like one of the things like why I don't like napping. So yes, I'm physically tired, but it's not even like
It's not just physical, I understand.
yes, you
I
get so
totally 100% understand.
yeah. So it's like before taking the nap here, I was just physically tired. But like now that I've taken the nap, I'm supposed to feel refreshed. You get
Mm.
I'm supposed to feel like Superman or something. But now I don't even know what I feel like. I just feel like, oh my God.
You feel like you need to sleep again, Abby.
I feel like I need to sleep again. You
I
get
get, I
exactly,
totally get it.
exactly.
Did you wake up with an alarm or did you just wake up?
So I woke up with an alarm.
Yeah, so I've noticed that when I nap and I have to set a timer and alarm to wake me up at a specific time, I
Yeah.
always feel groggy and still tired when I wake up. The
Yeah.
only time I feel refreshed after a nap is if I wake up, like I just wake up by myself, like nothing wakes me up. That is the only time
Right.
I feel refreshed when I take a nap. And I remember watching a YouTube video some time ago. I think is it Wired? They have this series called something support, so it can be tech support, whatever. And the person who is on the show, they
Mm.
are the experts in the field. So they had one that was called sleep support with a sleep expert who studies sleep or whatever. And I can't really remember it properly because it was a while ago, but he said something about how like the ideal nap time is like 60 to 90 minutes because then you have gone through a REM cycle. And the reason why you feel tired after a nap is because you didn't complete a REM cycle. You woke up in the middle of your REM cycle, so you didn't like properly
Yeah.
sleep. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why, like, most times you feel tired after a nap when you're woken up by someone else or something else, when it's not your body just telling you that, oh, you are
It's
rested,
time to
time to
wake
get
up.
up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, I find that very annoying as well.
Yeah. And I think for me, because the alarm went off and I literally, obviously I didn't just stand up in the middle of the bed,
Yeah,
but
you
that's how
jump
I
up.
felt like I jumped. Yeah. So it's like And when I jumped, I took like 5 minutes to get myself, like to get a sense of understanding of the world that, oh, what's going on here? Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
can sit
you're
down. Oh, I should
disoriented
stand
for a
up.
bit.
Like, yes. So,
Honestly, like I like to nap when I don't have anything to do, like when I know that I don't have to be up soon. So I can
mm,
let my body really rest because that's the point. Like the whole point of taking the nap is because I feel like I need to rest. I need rest. So if I try to nap like, oh, I have a call in 30 minutes or in an hour and I need to be up, I already know that when I wake up, I will not be feeling
the best. Yes. Like, it's a
until
good thing. Oh, sorry.
no, go
Continue.
ahead. Sorry.
I was to say, like, it's a good thing that obviously I'm sitting down and I'm talking to you. But then I imagine that if I want to go out now, I would struggle.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like I'm actually now resting. The rest that I think that I thought I was supposed to get, like while sleeping, now I'm getting it here. So
Mm.
maybe like 30 minutes from now, I'll be able to go out. But if someone calls me now and say, "Oh, let's go out," I'm like, I'm not really.
You're still gathering yourself together.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I think it's quite interesting because I haven't taken a nap in a very long time. So I find this feeling quite interesting.
I think with me with naps, I think I mostly only take naps if like I woke up really early that day or earlier than my usual time or before like I had to set my alarm to wake
Mm,
up and then I'm really exhausted during the day.
yeah,
That's when
yeah.
I really need naps. If I get enough sleep at night, I rarely need to nap. And speaking of sleep in general, like not just meeting naps or whatever, like in the night, something that I've noticed as well is on the days that I wake up before my alarm, I wake up feeling more rested than if it's my alarm that wakes me up. Although my alarm is very, very gentle. Like I don't have one of those crazy Apple alarms that is like there's a what happening like that jerks
Yeah.
you awake. Like I hate the Apple alarms. They're so loud. But my alarm is really is it starts really soft. It's like birds trilling. It's like
All
when
right.
birds are whistling and flustering and whatever, and it starts really, really soft and then it becomes louder and louder and louder. And so I don't jolt awake. It's not like,
Yeah.
and I find that that actually helps because since I stopped using those alarms that, like there's fire on the mountain, roar, 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 I actually feel better when I wake up. I feel like I've been eased into the waking up. And that's for me definitely helps. I should probably check if there's like some scientific explanation for it, which there probably is. But
No, I think there is. So the interesting thing is that the only time that I woke up super early, so I had to wake up because my test was early. I had to wake up 4 a.m. Yesterday and you know prepare my toddler like for childcare and all of that, like all of that ceremony. And yes, I've already stated I failed my driving test because I wasn't good enough. But then I didn't sleep well, so I'd slept till 12 that night, and I woke up 4 a.m. And my driving test was in London, so obviously, there are parked cars on the road and everything. So I didn't really feel myself that yesterday, and I think it
mm,
extended into today as well because I typically sleep say from like 10:30 ish, 11:30 ish, and I say ish because like there's no particular time.
yeah.
But then I always wake up after 7, like even without an alarm. I do set an alarm for 7:30 just to, prepare my toddler for like school drop off and everything. But then I woke up as usual today. But then the interesting thing today was that I slept back. So usually when I wake up in the morning, and this was pre yesterday, I would just wake up and I'm ready to like get the ball rolling. But today, when I woke up my usual time, so I think I woke up like some minutes after 7, which is typically around the time I wake up. But then I was able to sleep back so fast because my body is sort of like recovered.
Yeah.
So, and then I set my alarm for like 7:40 this morning because I wanted to have like extra sleep or whatever. And the interesting thing is that I think I'd already started one of those deep sleep because I remember jumping out of bed like when the alarm went off and like having to like force myself like through, my morning routine and all of that.
Mm.
So, and I think like somebody was saying one time, I heard something that is like, when obviously it's good to have like a healthy sleep schedule and all of that,
Yeah.
but then if you like, your waking up time is more important than your sleeping time. And I
Really?
find, yeah, so, and I've been trying to like implement that, because sometimes life happens, you're not able to like sleep as early as you
Early as
want
you
to
want to,
sleep.
yeah.
Yeah, so, and I've been trying to like implement that, like just have a time frame. So my time frame for bed is 10:30 to 11:30. That
Mm.
gives me roughly 8 to 9 hours of sleep. But I
Yeah.
always try to wake up before 7:30. So at
Same.
first I was like, no, before 7:30. So, but
Yeah.
at first, the alarm was helping me to wake up. But now I've been waking up before my alarm, and it's always after 7. And now remember, because we're in a new season, like we're in autumn, I
Mm.
started this in summer, and what I've realized is that even when like the weather is changing, like even when it's getting darker continuously, like my body can still sort of sense
Sense that
the
it's time to
time.
get up. Mm.
Yes, like, which I find interesting, because when it was like 7, after 7 in summer, I could still wake up
Wake
around
up.
after 7. And now that is awesome that daybreak, at least daybreak today was like, oh, yesterday was like 7:13, 7:15. I can still wake up
Wake up at
around
that
that
same
time,
time.
even though that is dark-ish around that time, which
Yeah.
is something interesting.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. And the thing about, I didn't know the thing about like even in maintaining a sleep schedule, your wake up time is the more important thing. Because
Mm,
for me as well, I try to like, since I learned about like your sleep schedule and blah blah blah, I try to sleep at roughly the same time and also wake
mm,
up at roughly the same time.
mm,
Which is between 7 and 7:45 is when I try to wake up generally. I don't have a fixed time, which also means I try to be in bed by 10:30, but that doesn't always work because I know that I need my full 8 hours or if sometimes even 9. If I don't get it, I cannot I cannot function properly.
yeah, so I think sleep is so underrated. Like, I think the only reason I realized the value of sleep is like after I gave birth. And I think that happens to a lot of people, because my husband and I, like after I gave birth, we were literally just zombies, like in the first 3 months or so. We were sleeping everywhere. Sometimes we sleep in the living room. Like, it was so bad that I remember like one day a friend video called me, and we were both sleeping on the couch, and like our baby was sleeping in the baby cot. Like, we don't even know how we fell asleep, but it's just like, because there's so much lack of sleep.
Yeah.
And then after that, you sort of like try to like build a schedule around your child. So
Mm,
if your child is a bad sleeper, what then happens, that it doesn't matter if you're a good sleeper or a bad sleeper, you're affected.
mm.
If that makes sense. So, and
Yeah.
for me, I wanted to breastfeed for as long as possible. So that also affected my sleep. As in, like, I was not even ready to stop breastfeeding. The thing that made me decide to stop breastfeeding was sleep. Like, I need to sleep, because I started, like, I got to this point where I remember this vividly. So I was walking in the park, and I remember feeling like my brain, like, foam, how like you feel like you're underwater or
Yeah.
something. So I, like when you foam outside water is light, but when you put
Yeah.
foam in water, it's sort of heavy. So that's how I
Yeah.
felt. So I remember feeling this way, and I just, came back, and I told my husband, I was like, I need to sleep. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I need to sleep. So he was like, okay, we have to do something. And then we came up with a plan of me like sleeping away from everybody, just so that I could have like longer stretch of
Of
sleep.
sleep. Yeah.
And then I was like, I made the decision at that point. I was like, okay, since like waking up to breastfeed and all of that, like, is beginning to affect my sleep, maybe it's time to like, the most important thing is that this child has gotten breast milk for the first day of their life. Maybe, I can't be like my grandmother or great grandmother who breastfed for 4 years, and that's okay. So that's okay. I'm not a super mommy, but that's okay.
Mm.
So
Yeah, super
that
mommy
kind of,
Jerry.
yeah, so I decided to be selfish, to be a selfish mommy. And then I stopped breastfeeding at night. So the funny thing is I don't know how it ended up that way, but then I breastfed more at night than during daytime because daytime we're trying to introduce food.
Yeah.
And then as a new mommy that was overboard, so I had this book, like I was trying to make sure that my child was eating like different nutrients. So we're trying a lot of different things.
Mm.
So what that meant was that like more of the breast milk, like towards 13 months, 14 months, they're happening at night. But then I just had to wrap it up and call it a day. So,
So you could actually sleep.
so that I can sleep. And the interesting thing is that because I wasn't sleeping well, it affected like other areas of my life, like my cognitive functioning decreased,
Of
like a lot of
course.
things. Like,
Yeah.
and then I also noticed that like my hunger level increased and that I was always tired. And because and the interesting thing is that I find that when I'm talking to people are like, how do you feel? I'm always tired. Like I was in this state of constant tiredness. Like I was
Mm.
always tired. And that doesn't mean like I couldn't function, like I could still do things, but then
But not
I
at
didn't feel the
optimum.
way. Yeah. So, and I was like, oh, how do I combat this? Then I just said, okay, you know what? I'm going to start gymming. And I got dumbbells. No, I already had dumbbells before, but I went to go and bring it out from where it was. Got out my dumbbells, started exercising, watching YouTube videos. But you know what? I was still tired. I was still feeling like not myself. And at this point, so I was still sleeping, but like no 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So I tried as much as possible not to even sleep 8 hours. I said sleeping 9, 10 hours. I know the funny thing, I was actually sleeping it. It's like
Mm.
my
Well,
body was
because you were
able to
so
sleep.
tired.
Yes. So my body was able to sleep. And the funny thing is, not even, I'm not saying exercise is not good, though, but I think the thing that really helped me the most was walking.
Mm.
So when I would hit like 10K, 15K steps, like I'll be able to sleep better. And, it really, really, really helped me a lot because it was a because when I read, like when I go out as well, so I was able to read like audiobooks, like read my
Yeah.
Bible, listen to worship songs. So when I come back, I'm relaxed.
And then you can sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I can sleep. So, and the more I sleep, the better I felt. Like the more I rested, the better I felt. Like the more I slept, the more, I could remember things. Then I didn't have mommy brain anymore. I still have, but
It's
like
not, it wasn't really bad.
yeah, it wasn't really bad. And the thing is that the more I slept, I could be more present for my child. Like,
Mm.
not like I could be more aware of things, be more present in life. And then it makes me realize that sleep is so important. And I feel so bad, like for new mothers and like new parents, mothers especially, because you're the one that if you choose to breastfeed, there's nothing really you can do about it. You still have to do the waking up. So it's just like it sort of makes sense, like in the olden days, that there was a lot of support because that
Yeah.
alone is such a big deal. Like it's
Yeah.
such a big deal, and it's like you know, I wish maybe science has gotten to a stage where we can bypass that.
Right. So I feel like we really underestimate the importance of sleep. Like how people be like, oh, I only slept 4 hours, I can sleep only 4 hours every night and still, function and still do things. Well, I find that very hard to believe. I feel like maybe you can do that for a couple of days or weeks even, but after that, I don't
Mm.
know that you can function optimally because there's a lot of things that happen when you sleep. I remember reading an article about how basically there's I can't I can't really remember the details, but the illustration is basically like in your brain during the day you accumulate like muck. Like think about
Yeah.
a strainer or whatever when you're in your sink when you're washing your plates and all the things that get accumulated on the straining thing so that they
Mm.
don't get into the pipes. And it's when
Mm.
you're sleeping that your brain clears out all those
All
things.
those junk, yes.
So if you're not sleeping, your brain is not clearing out the actual, like, this is literal physical material. It's not metaphorical junk in your brain. Um, and I need to reread this because it's been a while since I read it, and I remember a very fake thing. And
Mm.
also, even the other things you do, like you were mentioning, like even with exercise, if you don't sleep well, your
There's no point.
there's no point because your form will be bad. You're not going to get the most out of your exercise, whether you want to build muscle or lose weight. Like you're not going to get the most out of the things you're doing if you're not getting enough sleep. Your body's not rested. And if you're not rested, if your body's not rested, your mind is not rested, you're going to be in like constant alert and fighting mode, which is not good
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
you.
exactly. You'll be more stressed. You'll be more stressed. And now, and the interesting thing is now that I sleep better, I'm more excited to exercise. Like, I've been exercising not as frequent as I would like to. So I've been exercising. Before I used to do like 3, 4 days. Now it's just 1, 2 days, which is fine. We'll build
Which
it
is
up
fine
slowly.
as long as you're moving your body.
Yeah, so but then I'm still good with my work. But the interesting thing is that when I do exercise now, I feel much better. I still don't feel like I have gotten to that stage yet because lately I've been sleeping 8 hours, obviously aside from like, the little hiccup yesterday and whatnot. But I've been sleeping 8 to 9 hours. And then when I wake up, I'm able to like remember things. Like you just feel better. So when people say sometimes that they sleep 4 hours and they're able to function, you'll be able to function, but are you functioning optimally?
That's
And
the
I think
important
that's the key
question.
question. Yes. So you may
Is
be
this the
functioning
best? Is this the best you can
best.
do and you can be?
Exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't mean, and I think that's why it was important for me to say that, like, while I wasn't sleeping well, I was still like functioning. So I think it's like very important to say that I was still functioning. But then because I could remember like this happened after like childbirth, and obviously I knew how I was before childbirth. So it was easy for me to like compare the both of them and say, okay, there's something wrong and like find
Mm,
a way to fix it. But it's not like I had this immediately happen. I was like, oh, it's sleep and everything. So
yeah.
at first I thought maybe it was the stress of motherhood and all of that, because and even when I gave birth, lots of things were happening in my life. But then sleep was a major factor. And I think a lot of people like say nap when the baby naps. It doesn't work in real life. In real life, that's drama, that's fame. Yes, you can that because aside from even if you decide not to do things, because my husband was doing things, even if you decide to do things, your body's not wired to like sleep during the day. So and then as a mom, like when you speak to those that have given birth, you find that a lot of them are so wired to their children. And new mom, maybe when I give birth to my second child, I'll be more relaxed. New mom, my only child, I don't sleep. Oh, I will just be looking. I'll just be awake. Like even if something should drop on the floor, I'll drop. I'll say, "Is that my baby?"
Yeah.
So it's like it's not easy, basically, to like nap when the baby naps or all of that. And even when you're able to do that, you get physically exhausted to the point where you're able to do that. There's nothing like actually going down at night and like sleeping and having
Getting
like
actual proper sleep, exactly.
exactly. So it's so important. I didn't even know we ended up talking about sleep, but it's quite interesting.
Yeah, that this is why I love these conversations because the conversation just goes in any direction. It's like, what's on your mind today? And we go from there. And yeah, so this was a very good conversation. This is our note to you to sleep. Get enough sleep. Stop functioning on 3 hours and 4 hours and 2 hours of sleep every day.
And I feel like there's just something I should add before we wrap up. I think that sleep is so, so important. You know how gut health is the new rage? I feel like obviously everything is so important with like health and everything, but like sleep is so, so important. Like
Mm.
it really sets the tone for your day. And then one beautiful thing that I realize is that if life allows you to try to have a sleep schedule, it would
Mm-hmm.
dramatically change your life. Like the type of sleep you get when you have a sleep schedule is different from just I sleep 1 a.m. today, I sleep
Yeah.
8 p.m. today.
Even if
Yeah.
you're still getting your 7, 8 hours, if it's not like a constant schedule, it's still not the
It's
best.
still not giving, yes.
It's not. And I will look for the video that I talked about and add it to the um uh
The
what's that thing called? Description.
description box. Hey, I see. Hey, everybody. You see, and the thing is, if you notice, I've been making like as I'm talking, I've been making so many mistakes because, as I say, I'm not feeling myself. I've not slept
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. But
So,
yeah, thank you so
children,
much.
please. Yeah, thank you so much.
This
Yeah,
was
thanks for
great. I
having
really
me.
enjoyed this conversation. Thank you. And thank you
Thank
all for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If there was anything you found interesting or insightful, or you enjoyed the episode, please do share to someone or multiple people. Like, leave a comment, and definitely do subscribe and all the nice things. Bye.